Imagine being an engineer and hearing your boss say something almost impossible: build the greatest luxury car in the world. Don't worry about the cost. Today, that sounds like fantasy. Every modern car is designed around budgets, deadlines, and marketing research. But during the 1980s, Mercedes-Benz was a very different company. Long before accountants became the loudest voices in the room, Mercedes engineers were given extraordinary freedom to create a car that would redefine luxury for an entire generation. The result became the W140 S-Class, a vehicle so ambitious, so technologically advanced, and so expensive to develop that many enthusiasts still call it the last Mercedes built without compromise. Personally, I think the W140 represents something we may never see again. It wasn't designed to maximize profits or chase trends. It was designed to answer one simple question: what if Mercedes built the absolute best luxury sedan it possibly could? To understand why the W140 became such a legend, we first need to go back to the late 1970s and early 1980s. Mercedes-Benz had already established itself as one of the world's premier luxury manufacturers with the highly respected W126 S-Class. Elegant, reliable, and beautifully engineered, the W126 became a benchmark for executive sedans around the globe. Replacing it was never going to be easy. But Mercedes wasn't interested in simply building a successor. The company wanted to leap years into the future. Development of the W140 officially began in the early 1980s, and almost immediately the project grew far beyond its original expectations. Engineers continuously added new ideas, new technologies, and new safety systems. Every improvement made the car heavier, larger, more complicated, and significantly more expensive to build. Then, while Mercedes was still developing the car, something unexpected happened. In 1989, Toyota introduced the Lexus LS 400. Suddenly, the luxury market changed overnight. Here was a Japanese sedan offering remarkable refinement, exceptional build quality, and incredible reliability at a much lower price than many European rivals. Mercedes realized that simply replacing the W126 would no longer be enough. According to many automotive historians, the company delayed the launch and continued refining the W140, adding even more equipment and engineering improvements to ensure it remained the technological leader of the luxury segment. Those decisions came at an enormous cost. Development budgets continued to rise, production became increasingly complex, and the finished car emerged substantially larger than originally planned. When the W140 finally debuted in 1991, it immediately divided public opinion. Some people admired its commanding presence and incredible engineering, while others criticized its sheer size and weight. Compared to its predecessor, the new S-Class looked massive. The doors felt like vault doors. The body panels were thick and incredibly solid. Closing the door produced a reassuring sound that many enthusiasts still consider one of the most satisfying in automotive history. Every component seemed designed not simply to last for years, but for decades. Mercedes introduced technologies that were almost unbelievable for the early 1990s. Double-pane insulated glass dramatically reduced road noise. Soft-closed doors and trunk gently pulled themselves shut if they weren't fully latched. Parking guide rods automatically extended from the rear fenders when reversing, helping drivers judge the enormous dimensions before parking cameras even existed. Advanced climate control, extensive sound insulation, power-adjustable seats with memory functions, and groundbreaking safety systems transformed the W140 into one of the most sophisticated production cars on Earth. Under the hood, buyers could choose from refined inline-six engines, smooth V8s, and eventually the magnificent 6.0-liter V12 powering the legendary 600 SEL and later the S600. For many customers, simply owning a V12 Mercedes became the ultimate symbol of success. But despite all its luxury, the W140 wasn't trying to impress people with flashy styling. It projected confidence through engineering. Personally, I think that's what gives the W140 its unique character. It doesn't ask for attention, it earns respect. Even before turning the key, you can feel that this wasn't just another luxury sedan. It was Mercedes-Benz demonstrating exactly what it could achieve when engineers were allowed to chase perfection instead of compromise. Owning a Mercedes-Benz W140 in the 1990s wasn't simply about driving a luxury car, it was about experiencing one of the most ambitious engineering projects the automotive industry had ever seen. Everything about the W140 felt different. The doors were so heavy and solid that many owners joked they felt like closing the vault of a bank. The cabin remained incredibly quiet even at autobahn speeds thanks to double-pane insulated glass and massive amounts of sound insulation. Every switch moved with precision, every seat adjustment felt carefully engineered, and every control seemed built to survive decades rather than years. Personally, I think that's what separates the W140 from many modern luxury cars. It doesn't impress you with giant screens or complicated software. Instead, it impresses you with the quality you can actually feel every single time you touch the car. Under the hood, Mercedes offered an impressive range of engines, from durable inline-six units to refined V8s, but the true flagship was the magnificent 6.0-liter M120 V12. Producing nearly 400 horsepower, it transformed the 600 SEL and later the S600 into one of the fastest and smoothest luxury sedans on the planet. This wasn't an engine designed for aggressive acceleration alone, it delivered effortless power so refined that passengers often couldn't even feel how quickly the speedometer climbed well beyond legal highway limits. The V12 became a symbol of success for presidents, diplomats, CEOs, and royalty around the world. Yet even the smaller V8 models offered remarkable refinement and became famous for their ability to cover hundreds of thousands of miles when properly maintained. But perfection always comes with a price, and the W140 certainly had its weaknesses. One of the biggest criticisms was its enormous weight. Depending on the model, it could weigh well over 2 tons, making it significantly heavier than many competitors. Fuel economy was far from impressive, especially with the larger V8 and V12 engines. Maintenance costs could also become extremely expensive as the cars aged. Advanced electronics that were groundbreaking in the early 1990s eventually became expensive to repair. Early examples suffered from biodegradable engine wiring harnesses that deteriorated with time and heat, causing electrical issues that owners often discovered only after years of use. The sophisticated soft closed-door system relied on a complex vacuum mechanism that could fail with age, while hydraulic suspension systems fitted to certain models required specialized maintenance that wasn't cheap. Personally, I think these flaws actually make the W140 even more fascinating. Mercedes wasn't cutting corners, they were pushing technology further than almost anyone else at the time, and sometimes that meant introducing systems that were simply ahead of what long-term reliability could fully support. Another criticism came from the public itself. Compared with the elegant W126, many people initially thought the W140 was simply too big. Its massive proportions earned nicknames like the tank in some countries. Parking one in crowded European cities wasn't always easy, and before modern parking sensors became common, Mercedes had to invent an ingenious solution: small guide rods that automatically extended from the rear fenders whenever reverse gear was selected, helping drivers judge where the back of the car ended. It seems simple today, but in the early 1990s it was a brilliant innovation. The competition was stronger than ever. BMW answered with the E38 7 Series, a car that felt lighter, sportier, and more engaging to drive. Lexus continued improving the LS400, offering incredible reliability and exceptional value while challenging German dominance. Jaguar appealed to buyers seeking traditional British elegance, while Cadillac and Lincoln remained popular choices in the American luxury market. Yet none of them approached luxury quite the same way Mercedes did. BMW focused on driving dynamics. Lexus focused on perfection through simplicity. Jaguar emphasized style. Mercedes pursued absolute engineering without compromise. That philosophy made the W140 incredibly expensive to develop and equally expensive to manufacture, but it also created a car that felt almost indestructible when new. Beyond business executives and diplomats, the W140 also became an icon in tuner culture. Companies like AMG, Brabus, Lawrencer, Carlson, and Koenig transformed the already imposing limousine into something even more extraordinary. Brabus created monstrous V12-powered versions with larger engines and breathtaking performance, while AMG refined the chassis and added subtle aggression without sacrificing the luxury that defined the S-Class. Unlike many modified cars, a properly built W140 by Brabus or AMG never looked excessive, it looked like power dressed in a perfectly tailored suit. Today those special versions are among the most valuable and desirable luxury sedans ever built. Looking back more than 30 years later, it's easy to understand why enthusiasts often call the W140 the last over-engineered Mercedes. It wasn't perfect, and Mercedes itself likely spent far more money developing it than made financial sense. But perhaps that's exactly why the car has earned such legendary status. It represents an era when engineers were encouraged to solve problems with better engineering instead of lower costs. Personally, I think that's why the W140 still commands so much respect today. It reminds us of a time when building the best car in the world mattered more than building the most profitable one, and that's a philosophy that has become increasingly rare in the modern automotive industry. The Mercedes-Benz W140 wasn't simply another S-Class, it became the final expression of an era when engineers, not accountants, defined what a flagship luxury car should be. It wasn't built to be cheap, lightweight, or easy to manufacture. It was built to answer one question: what is the best luxury car Mercedes-Benz can possibly create? The answer was a machine so advanced, so over-engineered, and so uncompromising that even today, more than 30 years after its debut, it continues to earn the respect of enthusiasts, collectors, and engineers around the world. Personally, I think that's why the W140 has become much more than just an old luxury sedan. It represents a philosophy that has almost disappeared from the automotive industry, a time when durability mattered more than cost-cutting, when quality came before quarterly profits, and when a car was designed to last for decades instead of simply keeping up with the next technology trend. Yes, it was expensive to build. Yes, it could be costly to maintain. And yes, it wasn't perfect. But perhaps that's exactly what makes the W140 so fascinating. Mercedes didn't build this car because it was the easiest choice, they built it because they believed the world's best luxury sedan shouldn't be created through compromise. Its influence can still be seen in modern flagship sedans, yet many enthusiasts believe no Mercedes has ever truly captured the same feeling of solidity, craftsmanship, and engineering confidence ever again. Whether you admire the legendary V12, the vault-like build quality, the groundbreaking technology, or simply the timeless design, one thing is impossible to deny: the W140 changed what people expected from a luxury automobile and became one of the greatest Mercedes-Benz models ever produced. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more stories about the legendary cars that shaped automotive history. Every subscription helps the channel continue bringing these incredible machines and their forgotten stories back to life. And now I'd love to hear your opinion. Do you think the Mercedes-Benz W140 truly was the last over-engineered Mercedes-Benz, or do you believe another model deserves that title instead? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next.